Hello, YouTube. So it has been a pretty big month for me, transition-wise. I it's funny. I've been transitioned socially for somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 years or so. Maybe even almost 10. So a long time, and I kind of felt like I had done all of the big steps that I was going to do, except for two, which I've talked about before. My daughters went to a small private school that had a really, it was a small community. There was something like 200 families for an entire pre-K through 8th grade school. So it also tends to skew pretty conservative. So I never transitioned there because I just didn't want my kids to face bullying or anything like that because they had, a trans dad. Well, my younger daughter just graduated 8th grade there, so that's not really a concern anymore, and she's going to public school with her sister, which is a much larger school. So it's a lot easier to sort of disappear into 1,800 families instead of 200. I won't stand out so much, and chances are I'm not even the only trans parent. So like that part of my life is sort of over, and now I don't have to be closeted when it comes to the kids' school stuff. So that's pretty cool. Because that was one of the last places that I was sort of undercover. The other one was in my own career. As I said, small private school has a pretty high tuition, and we get financial aid, we got financial aid, but it was still a lot of money, so I needed to be really careful about jeopardizing my career. And the company I've been at for the last 4+ years is not large and not terribly progressive. And my direct manager, though he's actually a really good guy, mostly is also a pretty conservative Mormon. And so he and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of political things, let alone a lot of lifestyle topics. So I never came out there, and I never came out to him. But just sort of by sheer coincidence, I'll be taking a new job starting June 11th. I have a new position with a much bigger corporation that has a much better trans policy, and they get a 100 rating from the HRC Quality Index, so that's like huge. That means that all transition costs have to be covered by insurance, or rather, all insurance policies that the company provides have to cover trans services. So that doesn't mean like everything's free. It's covered by insurance. Which, in a world where they're desperately trying to repeal Section 1557 of the Affordable Care Act, which mandates that insurance companies can't discriminate based on gender or sex, it's a big deal. So, that's great news for me. But I'm sort of at this point in my life where, like, I don't want to have to be around men who think I'm a man too anymore. I didn't really talk about this, but I got to go to San Francisco for a week for work, and it was a client visit, so it was me and it was a couple of my fellow employees of my company, and we had traveled there. We were talking to the client, and then after we had gone out to dinner, and it's all men and me, and of course I'm undercover. So this was actually the first time that I had been in a group of all men who didn't know I was a woman. And so I had completely forgotten how awful men are when they're talking about women and they don't know that there's a woman present. It was horrific, and it was just so objectifying and gross and just like Access Hollywood Trump tape type conversation stuff. And no matter how much I said, guys, this isn't okay, you can't talk about women like this, and you know, like, this is just horrible stuff, they didn't care, and they thought it was funny that I was objecting. So like, I never want to be in that situation again if I can avoid it. So I got called by a recruiter for this company, and they had a position open, and I was a good fit for it, so I went to the interview. The problem was that my information on my resume was still my boy name. So when they reached out to me, they were reaching out to boy me because that's the only part of my career I had had. That's the only name I'd had a career under. So I went to the interview, you know, in a shirt and tie because that's not the moment to come out. So I get the job offer, and it's decent. I'm not the most happy. It's not the best job offer I've gotten, but there are benefits. So I was really strongly considering it. And then I was talking to the recruiter, and I said, okay, here's the deal. So I'm a trans woman, and the name that you reached out to me under is, you know, sort of my old self. And if I'm going to start a new company, I don't want to have to transition on the job, because I have a surgery scheduled for February of next year, after which time I'll be changing over all of my my name and my gender marker stuff. And I haven't done it yet because insurance companies tend to get dicey if they, like, if your gender already matches the surgery that you're trying to get, you know, the gender affirmation surgery for, or if you change your name partway through, it messes them up. So my surgeon's office recommended that I just hold on to my original name, even though it's awkward, until after the surgery, and then I can do all of the name change stuff. So I explained this to the recruiter, and I said, you know, it's really important that, you know, my badge shows the proper name and that my email address is the proper name, so that I'm not outing myself every time I badge in or send an email or anything else. Oh, and that's the other thing. This is an in-office job. So for the last 6 or 7 years, I've been working from my home right here. This is my office. So, you know, so this is like, I have to get up in the morning and get dressed and go to an actual office that has actual people in it. And I have to, you know, like, work face to face with coworkers again. And, you know, so like, suddenly presentation matters again. So I told the recruiter that this is important, and she did all of the checking in with her HR director, and you know, verified that my name will be correct, and I can, you know, I can start already as Brin, and I won't have to transition at work. But all that had to happen was I needed to talk to the hiring manager who I had interviewed with, and I was terrified because I have never come out at work. Like, this has never been an intersection that I've had to deal with of career and transition. And I knew it was going to happen eventually. I just don't know that I was quite ready for it to happen right now. And yet here we are. So, you know, I called him, and I was just, I was actually coming out of an electrolysis appointment that ran long, and I'm driving home. Like, we had a call scheduled, and I kept having to delay because you know, it just kept taking longer. So I'm already like a half hour late, which is always a great, you know, impression to make on your new manager. So I was already a half hour late to the call. So then I called him, and he had no idea what was coming. So I just had to be, you know, like, really straightforward. So, you know, I'm a trans woman. My name is Brin. I know that, you know, you interviewed me as Paul, but You know, if this were 10 months from now, we wouldn't be having this conversation because you would have already reached out to me as Brin and, you know, everything else. So, you know, it's really important to me that I'm able to, you know, start my job properly and not have to transition at work because that's a distraction, and that, you know, I interviewed with 2 of my team members because it's a tech interview, so they needed to sort of vet my credentials. So I needed to make sure that they were, you know, sworn to secrecy, and that, you know, this wasn't going to be announced to my whole team, and that, you know, I just got to go from jump, right? Like, everything got to be in line. And he was like, that's great, no problem, thank you for telling me, we'll make sure that everything is prepared for you, and, you know, like, you're good to go. So now, like, I have this really great opportunity coming, and it's only like, I don't know, like 2 weeks away. And so I submitted my notice to my old, you know, my current company, and so now I'm in my last 2 weeks, and I'm desperately trying to, you know, maintain motivation. But like, this is huge. This is like the last two places that I had any real, like, undercover work to do was this school and this job, and now they're both done, and now, like, that's it. That's it for me. Like, my whole, like, my family and my social life, now my job, now, you know, my kids' lives, that's it. I'm just like a woman and transitioned, and I don't have to play pretend for anyone. And so that's terrifying, but, like, exciting, and I don't know what to do. Like, honestly, I'm scared that I have ruined my entire career, that I've thrown 20 years down the drain. But, you know, we'll have to see, and I'll try to make videos to sort of, like, you know, let you guys know what it's like in an office environment. You know, sort of like the both sides thing, right? I've been in many corporate offices as a man. This will be my first time as a woman, and so, you know, I'm really expecting a lot of horrible treatment, and, you know, people questioning my competency that never would have before, and all that stuff, so I don't know how I'm gonna have to deal with it. Plus, like, I don't know how stealth I can actually be. So I don't know, like, what happens when that comes out. I don't know. It's scary. Yeah, oh, this is already starting to run long, as my videos tend to do. Sorry. Oh, but yeah, so now I have to get a whole new goddamn wardrobe. I really need to get my hair done because now I got a better camera, so you can see all of the gray that has been showing up in my hair for the last 10 years, 15 years. That's really starting to come out now, and the last time I got any kind of, like, dye work done was here ago, which is something like almost 2 years for my high school 20th reunion. So now I have to get, you know, I have a cut and color scheduled. I have to get a whole new wardrobe because the only office clothes I have are men's clothes, and that doesn't exactly send the signal that I'm looking for. So, like, I don't know what to do. There's so much. But, like, I gotta get my nails done, or I have to, you know, I don't have to. I can do my nails. I can get them done. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do with that yet. But, like, holy shit. You know, like, I have a friend who works at Mac, so I think maybe I'm gonna reach out to him and be like, hey, help me do, like, office appropriate makeup because I suck at makeup, period, and you know, all of my freckles and stuff, which I don't tend to cover up for here because they don't always show up on camera. Maybe it's time, you know, to not reveal those, along with these, you know, giant bags under my eyes, to an office that I'm trying to make a good first impression on. So, you know, I'm kind of frantic and frenetic right now, and I am doing my best to sort of keep a lid on things. But holy shit, guys, this is huge. This is like the biggest month of my transition that I have had in like 9 years. And then 10 months from now, it's going to be a totally different one. And, like, that's also a big, huge deal. And I mean, this is so much all at once, and I am just glad I'm not moving, I guess. I don't know. It's scary, but I'm excited. So I hope you guys are excited with me, and I will keep you guys up to date. I have more videos that I want to do that I sort of referenced in my last one, but you know, I haven't really had the opportunity because I have had all of this going on. So oh my god, I don't know what to do. Okay, anyway, so that's it for my video. That's my, you know, sort of life update, and it's not exactly me being, you know, super like Mama Brin about stuff. I'm tooting my own horn, and the Midwest in me is just screaming to shut the hell up. But here we are. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for standing by me for so many years, and I'm sorry that I have not been a better, you know, content provider for those of you who have subscribed to me and stuck with me for so long. You know, we'll see what happens, and I will try to be better. Okay, thank you all. I love you, and have a great day.